All right, good morning, church. We are starting a new journey today. We are reading through a life of Jesus. And so we have 15 readings that handle the life of Jesus and all covering just a breadth of what he did and said while he had his ministry here on earth. We're going to talk through we're running through all the different gospels, just a little snippets at a time, but to give you a real overview of who Jesus is and what he did and what he said. And I think this will be a really great time to reflect on what his life was like. And it gives us a solid foundation for talking about a lot of other things in our Christian walk. And so today I want to begin with Luke 1. That's our chapter for today. And Luke 1 through 4 is one of my favorite passages to just teach on. Listen to this. It says, "Many have undertaken to draw up an account of the things that have been fulfilled among us, just as they were handed down to us by those who first were eyewitnesses and servants of the word. Therefore, since I myself have carefully investigated everything from the beginning, it seemed good to me also to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus, so that you may know the certainty of the things you have been taught." And just a couple things stand out to me, even in those first 4 verses. Luke is actually giving us the purpose for his writing. He's telling us exactly why he picks up his quill and papyrus, is probably how he wrote. And so why does he do that? Why is he writing? Well, he says, first, there's things that were fulfilled among us. In other words, something was spoken of long ago and was fulfilled by the coming of Jesus. And so Luke wants to begin to fill out what that means and what Jesus' ministry, why it's significant, why it's fulfilling promises of old. The second thing that he wants us to know is that there were eyewitnesses. There were many people who watched Jesus, saw Jesus, touched Jesus, and were a part of that story. And Luke has undergone just a historian's interview, right? He goes around and he talks to all these witnesses. He talks to people who were there, who saw things. He listens to their accounts. He takes his notes. He scribbles a little here and there. He gathers the whole story. And then he puts it all together, right? This is the big part of his task. He takes all of these stories about Jesus that people have. Can you imagine all the stories that people would have about Jesus? We have a glimpse of them in the Gospels, but there are more. We know that there are more. John writes about that at the end of his Gospel. But Luke gathers all these glimpses, and then he begins to think through, what do we need to hear? How can he help us to understand who Jesus is better by putting together an orderly account? And then the last thing that he says is that that you may have certainty of the things you have been taught. You know, Luke wants us to know exactly what we believe. He wants us to know that when we talk about Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, the people were there. The people saw these things. The people were involved in these events. And he wants us to kind of get into that story, right? To know the certainty of what Jesus did for us and to be a part of that bigger picture. And so, church, we're inviting you to join us through this journey just over the next couple weeks to talk about a life of Jesus. And so Luke 1 kicks us off. Those were only the first 4 verses. There's a whole lot more in chapter 1 talking about John the Baptist and his backstory and some of the miraculous events around that and leading into Jesus' own ministry. And so I invite you to read the rest of Luke 1 today and to hope that you enjoy these reflections on Jesus' life as we move forward in these next couple weeks. All right, I'll see you again soon.